But in terms of the Manchester derby, the derby at Old Trafford was the last game that I attended, and certainly the last game I know you attended, Andy, and it was the last City game that we played in front of a crowd. Here we are. Who would have thought that next time that fixture came around, it would be in an empty stadium? And who would have thought, by the way, that United would go into that derby match above us in the league? So where are we now? Obviously, in terms of team selection, you've seen one team play against Fulham. You'll see a completely different team playing midweek against Marseille. Are we to read into Pep's team selection? I'm sure he would deny this very strongly, that the team that played on Saturday against Fulham will be the team that starts the Manchester derby because they've all been rested for a week. Or are we going to see a mix-up of the two teams? So what's the strongest team? What players would you pick? Are United starting this derby favourites because they're above City? Will home advantage count for anything? Blimey, start wherever you want. Yeah, you've got a lot of subjects you can go at there in this Manchester derby.
Can I just start with the fact that, United may be above us, but with the way they've been playing and the way we've been playing, we're leagues apart. We're leagues apart.
100%. 100%.
They shouldn't be able to live with us. I'm probably going to made to eat these words, and I hope I don't. But we're leagues ahead. United are shocking. I've been watching them regular. I love talking about them when they're shocking. It's the only time I like talking about them is when they're really crap. And sorry for that if that's language, if that's swearing. But yeah, I'm kind of not looking forward to it. I never look forward to a derby anyway. But at least if we do get beat, I'll be sat in my bedroom on my own watching it, and I won't have anybody to be annoyed with. So that'll be better. But we should be beating United the way they're playing at the moment. A full strength City side out of full strength United side. There's only going to be one winner there. The only way I can see United winning is dodgy penalties and VAR decisions, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry, Andy. I agree with Paul in terms of the fact that they won 3-1 yesterday, and West Ham kind of rolled over and took the beating in the end. The game against West Brom last week, penalty got retaken. They just about scraped past West Brom. Granted, we've underperformed in certain games this year, but with me, there's always with Pep, as much as he sometimes is open to criticism and should be open to criticism, we've always got a purpose to our play. We've always got objectives, and there's a real style and system there. And maybe we overplay sometimes because we're too strictly trying to adhere to that system. But the thing with United is it's very improvisational with Ollie at the moment. He's always changing his mind. He's always trying to tweak things and change things during games just to get by. We don't do that anymore. We used to do that under Pearson. We probably did it a bit under Hughes. But we under Mancini, Pellegrini and Pep have never really just done things during a game to get by. If anything, we've not made changes because Pep's a bit stubborn. But I think that, like Paul said, we are far too good for them. Don't look at league tables. Don't look at points. Don't look at games won, goal difference. Look at the performances. Use your eyes. They are nowhere near us in terms of style, system, the way they play, the players that they've got individually. Miles apart we are. And I think in answer to the defensive question that I think you were kind of getting at, maybe indirectly, Ian, I put Laporte back in there with Diaz. As good as Stones has been, if there's one game that John Stones will have a shaky game in, knowing us, it'll be the derby, and it'll be one of them that he'll get crucified for, and then we're back to square one with Stones again. I wouldn't put him in the firing line in the derby. I'd have him on the bench. I'd bring him on in the 85th minute to show things up if we're winning by 1 or 2 goals. But I'd genuinely go with our strongest centre-back partnership of Emerick and Diaz. I think Mendy keeps his spot at left wing-back as much as I think Cancelo could probably go and do that job out there very well. I think Walker's back in for the derby as well. And then Pep will probably pick the best midfield. And, Jesus will probably stay up top with either Mahrez or Sterling on the right for me and Torres on the left.
What about all the calls for Foden, who's full of energy and a player who fans are completely mystified?
It's irrelevant,
why he's
Ian.
not playing.
It's irrelevant because it's dead simple. we've got a team that are going to part the bus and counter-attack. Whether we play Foden or not, it doesn't matter. What we're not doing is banging them in. And I don't think that'll change next weekend. So chances taken is key. That's it. That's the first thing. We've got to have Kyle Walker playing because we've got to have the pace to cope with the counter-attack, which has hurt us in the last couple of derbies. So whether Foden plays or not, for me, it's irrelevant. It's about playing the players who we think are going to get the best out of our system against a team that's going to play that way. Yesterday, I watched a bit of the first half of United at West Ham. They were dreadful. Gary Neville was absolutely scathing about them. And then they turned it off and went outside and did some stuff. And I can't believe that they'd won, but obviously he threw the kitchen sink at the game second half with the changes he made. So they've obviously got some quality in Bruno Fernandes. He's obviously a decent player. We've got to watch him. He's going to be playing. So how do you manage him with Phil Foden? That's my question. So I think what we've got to do is go out with a very bold lineup and then take the consequences, or we say, right, hang on, we take this as a European game, and I think that's where we've got to pitch the team. Say, let's go at this in the way we did against Madrid, in the way we've done throughout the European Champions League all this season.
Like Leon.
Well, that was a disaster. I mean, the quarterfinals, let's be honest, we've got to forget that they ever happened under Pep because he's not got one right yet.
Was that because Pep was too cautious in that game? And this is what I'm coming to, really. If Pep plays two holding midfielders at Old Trafford against United, is that too cautious? Or do you want him to just go for it?
I'll tell you what worries me, Ian, is physical teams beat us. And I think that they could bully us in midfield.
Yeah, we're too nice, Andy. We're too nice.
That's what worries me about next weekend.
In the defensive phase, we're too nice. I think Andy's going to probably nod his head here because he usually does when I mention this man's name. Fernandinho's fit. He starts on his own.
Absolutely.
In a midfield three. He sits there in front of Diaz and Laporte, and there's nothing else that I'm willing to consider against United. Don't go. I got told off the other week by a guy that said that, us podcasters shouldn't. It's a good job us podcasters aren't managers because we don't like the double pivot, and it would have worked against Spurs and this, that, and the other. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it is a cautious way of setting up that you're offering two men to protect, or you're putting in two men to protect a very, very strong back two. You're losing some dynamism in there as well in front that you could be utilising. I'd play Fernandinho, and then the two you play in front of him, you can play whoever you want, Foden, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne. You've got all the freedom in the world. As long as you've got that man that's pinned in that hole there that will get us going and that will protect that back two, I'm buzzing. Fernandinho starts against United, and I'm not entertaining anything else.
I watched the under-21 game on Friday against Brighton, and I did a tweet during the game, and some people won't be interested in the under-21s, and it is a completely different team and a different way of playing. But they played 4-1-3-2. And I thought, what a great formation that is. Why is the first team not playing that? Back four, that one, as you say, would be Fernandinho for me. Then you've got your three creative midfielders, and you've got potentially, you could play a fourth. Well, obviously, it'll be a lot more flexible than this, but somebody dropping into midfield at times, going to a two at the top at times as well. I just love that system. But to me, and I'm just a podcaster these days as well, so what do I know? But to me, the one in front of the back four, and that would be Fernandinho. I completely agree with you, but I don't think Pep will do that in a million years. I think Rodri's a shoo-in to start.
I think he's a shoo-in as well, and that's why I'm worried because there was a debate I had the other week with a guy, and it was one of them where I said, if Fernandinho's fit, Rodri still plays. If we go 4-3-3, Rodri still plays, and he said, really? And I says, yeah, well, if you look at the season before last season, when we first signed Rodri, Fernandinho was fit for 6 weeks and didn't start one game. Rodri started every game. We brought Fernandinho on in the second half to change the game. We changed the game, we win. So if Pep knows that Fernandinho's going to come on when the going gets tough, start the guy, get us up in the game, and then bring Rodri on when I think Rodri's at his best, and that's when things are going well and he can be glamorous. other than that, I don't think he's there to do the hard work when it needs to be done. And against United, there's going to be lots of hard work to be done. It's going to be a physical game, like Andy said. Who is the best man in our team to combat physicality? The most physical player in our team, Fernandinho.
Oh, sorry.
Do you mean in terms of the physicality?
You think Mahrez is the key player then, Paul?
Absolutely not. No, he's done all right against two poor teams. He takes a slagging when he shouldn't really get one, to be honest. If you play him in the right place and he gets games, he can score goals. But every goal seems to be the same one, where he comes inside and then loops one into the right hand post. No, Mahrez, I agree with you. He's got to play. Fernandinho's got to play, definitely. He's the man, but he's got to start. Because the problem with Fernandinho, he's always got a yellow card in him. And if for whatever reason you bring Fernandinho on in the second half, whatever, they'll just target him. They'll get him a yellow card and potential sending off without 10 men. And there you go. That's the game handed to him. So you've got to start Fernandinho. I like Cancelo. I think Cancelo's done well, but as I say, that pace you've got to have Walker's pace. I wish Walker or Cancelo had the pace that Walker's got, because that'd be perfect. That'd be ideal. But we haven't got that. So I don't know if Aguero's back. I'd love him to be playing, but are they going to bring him in for this game and he possibly breaks down? I don't know. I'd love to see him in there just because the fact that he's come back, it'd frighten the life out of him, I think, to start with.
The way that the league works these days is that, and I hope you obviously can disagree with me if you want, but I've said this before. You play 38 league games, 30 of them are against fairly weak teams. Probably 16 of them are against teams you should put 4 or 5 past, frankly. And the other teams, if you're title challengers, you should beat them both home and away. So you're left with 8 or 9, 10 absolutely crucial games in your season. City played Tottenham, lost. City played Leicester. They're on the fringes of being in that group. They lost. City played Liverpool and drew. I'd say Manchester United are very much in this category at the moment. The form might be inconsistent. I'm not watching, and this is my COVID reaction to football at the moment. I watch the City games, but I'm not watching any other football matches apart from the ones that I go to as a journalist and I'm in the stadium. So I've seen Oldham, I've seen Curzon Ashton, I've seen Wigan Athletic and teams like that, but I've not watched United. I've not watched Liverpool, not watched Everton. How can I be a sports journalist, my wife says, and not watch them? It's just the mood I'm in. It's the mood I'm in with
She's been COVID. Complaining for years that you're always going to the matches, and now all of a sudden she's changed her mind. Well, these women, what can we say? God.
It's the irony of I could watch them at home on my TV.
No, Ian, it's the irony.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I like that. So my question is, well, first of all, the track record against the teams around them this season hasn't been as good as it could be. And secondly, is this a 6-pointer? I mean, I said before the Liverpool game, how pivotal is this? Before the Tottenham game, how pivotal is this? After City have played United, they play West Brom at home. Come on, 5-0 again. Then they play Newcastle on Boxing Day. They've got a string of games which are all winnable again.
I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is, because this is not going to be a season of anything like the points totals that we've seen in the last few. I think that's the reason that it's not as big a 6-pointer as it would have been normally, Ian. But I do agree with you that they are a team that we need to beat, not least because they're our biggest and most bitter rivals. And yeah, that's right. And I got COVID-19 the last time I went to Old Trafford. So I've not forgiven them. I hate them even more now.